Hey folks, it's Viejo here, and we're right at the end of the second week of December here in 2022. Got kind of a nice day here on the central coast of California. It was cool. Didn't get out of the high 50s today. And we're just kind of off of this rain period that we had over the last weekend. And I still got 58 degrees here in the garage and 65% relative humidity. Kind of a standard day here if you follow my channel. We're going to do some reloading here today, and let me show you the cartridge we're going to make. This is my dummy round, and we're using mixed range 38 special brass with Montana Gold 158 grain jacketed hollow points. All right, I got a whole bunch of these a couple years ago. They were on sale, and I got these for $0.10 a piece. At that time, but now they're up, I think, to about 12 cents. But that's still a pretty good deal for a 158 grain JSP or JHP bullet compared to something like a Sierra. And these compare very closely to a Sierra bullet, which we'll show you during the course of the discussion here today. All right, so that's what the cartridge looks like. And we're going to be loading with some unique powder and using the Dillon 550C press that you can see here. And let's see, what else can I tell you? I'll bring you up closer and show you the mix and match die set that I've got. So here's our die setup. These are range cases that I'm using here. It's mixed brass. And I did size these already, but we're going to go ahead and run them through the sizer anyway. It's in there. I'm too lazy to take it out. Okay, the Dillon powder measure, okay, and the Dillon powder funnel and expander. It's fine for our jacketed rounds that we're going to use today. Okay, I do something a little bit different in my setup if I was running cast bullets. Using an RCBS cedar die here because the seat stem fits this bullet profile really well. Okay, and the Lee factory crimp die, which I don't like for all of my cast bullets, but it works really well with jacketed. You can see I put a little dimple right there in the top of my adjustment knob on the factory crimp die. This is just aluminum. I take a center punch. I do this with all my Lee factory crimp dies since they're aluminum. Just go ahead and put a dimple in there with your center punch and then mark it with a Sharpie, and that gives me a reference mark when I'm adjusting this. So if I want to adjust a quarter turn, it's easier to see with that little witness mark on there. So there we go with that. The rest of the setup here you've seen before. This bar here that supports my double cases, that's from Inline Fabrication. I'm loading standing up today, so I have the riser on top of my low inline fab mount here. That riser just, for me, works out just right. I can take it out of there if I choose to load sitting down, and that puts my presses at the correct height for a seated loading. But I'm loading standing up, so the riser goes back in there. It's a real handy piece. My bullet tray here is the Dillon bullet tray, mounted on an Inline Fabrication articulating arm. This tray swings all the way around and kind of lines up straight back behind here, out of the way when not in use. It's great. I highly recommend this arm. And we've already got the cedar die, which you can't see because my mirror is in the way. We got cedar die set for the proper overall length. I've got my Dillon powder measure already set to deliver the 5.7 grains of unique that I want to have in this particular round. And I do have a size die in place over here, although my brass, I've already sized it, but it won't hurt it to go up in there. I could pull it out, but there's no point. You guys know that with my cast bullets, I like to use a different case mouth expander, but with jacketed bullets like these, the Dylan expander is fine and it works great. I don't have to go and make any adjustments or anything. Okay, it's gonna run good with these bullets. So that's the die setup, and I'm using some Remington 6.5 primers, and that's a rifle primer, small rifle primer. I got those inexpensively not long ago and tested them, and you may have seen the test that I did anyway. They worked fine, no problem. I'm just about done with that of those that I got. So I'm going to run a couple hundred rounds today, and I'll show you a little bit about the reloading. You know that on YouTube I'm not going to show you any of the actual reloading process at the press. You want to jump over to my Rumble channel, you can see some of that. I will stop the process here and there and show you a couple of the little interim things, measurements, and so forth that we need to take along the way, however. All right, let's go ahead and get after this. These are these Montana Gold 158 grain jacketed hollow cavities. Okay, really nice bullet. And these guys are very similar to this Sierra bullet. Let's take a look at the similarities and compare the two. So that's the Sierra bullet here on the left, and that bullet I just looked on Midway, that's 37 cents for that bullet, whereas the Montana Gold current price is about 12 cents if they're in stock, which at the moment they're not, but I'm going to put a link here for you, and you can go check their company out. But that's a considerable savings, a third the cost of that Sierra. Okay, I'm just going to take some of these randomly. 158.2, 157.7. Hit the camera, sorry. 158.1. 158.2, 158.3, 157.9, 157.9, 158.1. Do a couple more, so we'll have 10 of these. 158.2, 158.3. Okay, so we're close in there out of 10 of those. What was our low? 157.7. Let's compare these to the Sierras. All right, let's take 10 of these Sierras. Now these are not hollow points. I don't have any of the Sierra hollow points. So 158.2, we'll do 10 of these also. 158, 158.2, 158.2, 158.2, 158.1, 158.4, 158.1, 158.1, 158.2. So we had kind of one outlier there, but these are all ranging from 158.1 to 158.4, so a range of 310. Again, while we have these out, let's go ahead and check them for diameter. Okay, 356. 356.5, a little bit over. 356.5. 357. 356, maybe hair over, but close enough. almost 357, just a hair under 357. A little over 356. 357. 357. 356.5. And these are rated at 0.357. As you saw, we got a couple under that. Now let's check the Montana Golds. All right, and the Montana Golds, again, rated as a 0.357 bullet. 357. 357. 357. Oops, Elvis. 357. 357. 357. This one's a little under 356.5. 357. 357. And 357. I'd say the edge goes slightly to the Montana Golds for consistency and diameter. There was one that was just a little bit under, and those were just 10 selected randomly, not the same 10 that I weighed. We'll go ahead and take a look at overall length, although as you guys know with soft points, it's a little bit of a moot point. They're going to be somewhat inconsistent anyway with that soft point. So I got 0.666 6.5. And these will depend on which way I measure them. Same way, 6.5. 6.5, almost 6.7. That one's a little over 6.8. Probably taken at a different spot. Yeah, 6.7 and a little bit more. These tend to get deformed in shipping, guys. So 6.7. 6.7. Consistency really isn't bad for soft points. 6.6. 6.6. 6, a little more than 6.7. And right at 6.6. Okay, now then let's try the Sierras. See how they fare for overall length. 5.6. 5.5. 5.7. We'll call it 5.7. 5.5. 5.6. 5.6.5. 5.8. 5.6. A little under 5.6. 5.5. So again, some expected inconsistency in length of the bullet itself, but they're soft points. So I think that the Montana Gold stacked up favorably with the Sierras as far as consistency in overall length. If we stand two of these side by side, let me get my camera down there a little closer, and you can see that the Montana Gold bullet stands just a little bit taller, okay, than the Sierra bullet. Cantilures are not exactly in the same spot, but they're close. If we take a quick look in your Sierra manual, you can see that Sierra loads both their soft point and the hollow cavities to the same overall length, and they've got lots of good load data for those. And I think that from what you've seen, that Montana Gold bullet is close enough to these guys that you could use their starting points at least over here for your load development. So there's our cedar setting. I come in here close so you can see where we are in that cantilure. You're about halfway up there. It's a good spot to be. Not hurtful to have it up a little bit more than that, but that's kind of what the Sierra book calls for with their bullet. So that's where we're seating them. And I've used this this length for this bullet for 1,000 rounds probably. Okay, that's working good. All right, so here's our Wilson 38 Special pistol gauge. Here's our first 3 rounds. Okay, drops in there. See if I can do this without doing an Elvis ammo. Okay, that one comes in, comes back out. That one went in. Okay, we're good and flush across there. Looks good. Comes right back out. And periodically we'll come in and check our crimp as well and make sure everything else looks good. Okay. Okay, remember what we're looking for here? We want that to drop all the way down in. We're looking across the top here. You can drag your fingernail if you want. Okay, you're looking while we're here. Make sure your primers are being seated below flush. Okay, and that we're not extending our bullet out beyond the limits. Okay, folks, there you go. We got a couple hundred rounds of these nice Montana Gold bullets over some unique powder loaded up. And reminder here, guys, never ever copy a cartridge load that you get off the internet. Always work up your own loads. I think that this bullet does compare favorably, though, to that Sierra bullet, and that the starting points in the Sierra manual for their similar bullet to this one is safe enough for you to start working up your own loads from. Is this a match grade bullet? No, probably not. However, it's a good shooter, okay? And the price is right. So I can recommend them. I've shot lots and lots and lots, hundreds, maybe thousands of these. So go for it. All right, for now, that's all she wrote.